In this session, I'm going to, in my introductory notes, focus on the practice of taqleed. Very briefly, I'm not going to give a speech, just a few remarks, and then I'll entertain your questions, and I hope some of those questions are going to be regarding taqleed. So, it comes often to my knowledge, and I read on social media, and a lot of speakers and a lot of commentators make this observation that Allahyari's position with regard to taqleed is untenable. Actually, it's ridiculous. Actually, it's stupid and irrational. Why? Because all people do not know much about Islam. The layman does not understand much and does not have enough knowledge about the instructions of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, edicts of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, and ahadith of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. And that's very obvious. Therefore, the layman does not have any choice but to take recourse to an alim, to a scholar, to learn from someone who knows. Therefore, Allahyari's position that taqleed is wrong and taqleed should not be practiced is clear-cut wrong and is plainly ridiculous and stupid. That's the assertion that you often hear. So what's my response to that? The response to that is that this assertion itself is very irrational. It's a misinformation and disinformation and a propaganda. Giant man of knowledge in Shia Islam, man of very eminent position and enormous respect in the history of Shia religion, such as Kulaini, such as Saduq, such as Mufid, such as Al-Hur Al-Amili, such as Muhsin Faith Al-Kashani, Al-Allama Al-Majlisi. These people were not idiots. These people were not stupid. It's obvious that when a person doesn't know something, the only way for him to learn, especially if he cannot read books, for him is to ask someone who knows. And how could any person with an iota of brain would be against the practice of learning from someone more knowledgeable? But I said that this assertion is wrong. It's misinformation and an act of deception. As a matter of fact, a very flagrant and a very repugnant deception. That is because that is not what taqleed is. The practice of taqleed is not the act of a layman asking an alim for an explanation. That is not what taqleed is. A marja's duty is not to help his followers understand a hadith more and to have better understanding of a hadith. That's not a marja's role. A marja never explains a hadith to you. You all know that. So, and nor maraj's wukala and deputies do that. Nor the practice of taqleed is that you act upon the explanation of a hadith provided by maraja. Taqleed is and the taking recourse to a marja and following a marja is not tantamount to following a hadith of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. You are following the words of a marja, and the words of a marja is the final authority. That is the law of Islam for you. That is the final, where the buck stop is the marja and his fatwa. Marja does not help you better understand the sayings of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salatu wassalam. And marja's fatwas are not explanations and commentaries on hadith. So this flagrant deception is in misinformation and falsification about taqleed and what is the practice of taqleed on one hand and what is our position with regard to taqleed is so repugnant. Please consider the very fact, the very practice that they are alleging me to be against. That's what I'm promoting. That's what I've been calling for. That the layman, Shia, common man, he does not have the capacity to understand a hadith better or read a hadith at all. Therefore, it's the duty of scholars to present a hadith to them and explain to them and teach them. That's what I've been saying. And they're accusing me that I am against this practice. and Maraji have been acting and they have been performing the service, and I'm opposing them. So you all know that's a lie. Maraji do not to you. All these Maraji, so many of them, right, today in the Shia world, and before them, other Maraji, they have not written books of commentary on a Hadith. They have not written for their followers translation of a Hadith. Maraji, I'm saying, people who have translated a Hadith, they are not Maraji. And Maraji does not condone, they do not finance translation of a Hadith. Maraji do not write commentaries on a Hadith, and they do not give lectures on explaining a Hadith for their followers. Nothing at all. All the Marja provides to you is his fatwa. His fatwa is not Hadith. His fatwa is his own words. And you have been led to believe falsely and erroneously that his word is the final authority in Islam. And as a matter of fact, in practice, you give more weight to the edict of the marja, to the fatwa of the marja, than Quran, than Hadith. And I'm not exaggerating, that's the truth. Common Shias do not have anything to do with Quran or Hadith as far as their daily routines go, as far as their acts of worship go, as far as their religious practices are concerned. It's Maraji who dictate how they should live their lives. It's the Maraji who establish how they should think, what they should do. Everything in their all aspects of life are defined and established by Maraji. That is the truth. Whereas Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and Ahlul Bayt alayhim salatu wasalam have only sanctioned Shias to follow their Hadith. They have enjoined Shia to follow their Hadith, and they have not authorized any other authority than themselves to be followed. It's the duty of the Shia ulama to spread the Hadith of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. So, what has been the position of scholars since antiquity with regard to the practice of Taqleed? The position of those scholars who are against Taqleed, such as Al-Kulayni, such as Saduq, such as Mufid, such as Shaykh Al-Hurr Al-Amili, such as Majlisi, such as Mullah Muhsin Faid Al-Kashani, and these are giants of knowledge. No Shia mujtahid spends one day of his life that he wants to give a lecture, and he is not in need of the books of these individuals. As a matter of fact, there will be no Shiaism without these individuals. Without Kulayni, without Saduq, without Allama Majlisi, Al-Hurr Al-Amili, Shiism would be devoid of teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. These are the people who are the nexus between Shia population and Shia scholars and Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. So why these very eminent and respectable and towering figures of scholarship and erudition, they are against the practice of Taqleed? Were they insane? Were they irrational? They could not see something so palpable, so visible, so clearly true in front of their eyes? That Taqleed is the only way for the common man to understand Quran and Sunnah? The fact of the matter is that you are being misinformed, because proponents of Taqleed, they do not have any tool in their drawer except lies and fabrication and falsification. They cannot justify Taqleed. If you understood what Taqleed is, you would disown Taqleed immediately. So that's why they are scared and they're afraid and they're intimidated to face me. Why? Because Taqleed is so flagrantly wrong. Because you consider the word of a person who is not an imam, who is not a ma'soom. You consider his word, his fatwa, his edicts as the final authority in your life, according to which you have to formulate your life, because Quran and Sunnah is not understandable, comprehensible for you. And this person is not an imam, this person is not a Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You've been led to believe that. No. Quran and Sunnah is comprehensible for you. You could understand them if someone explains to you. So if someone explains Quran and Sunnah to you, fatwa are more difficult, more complicated, more complex than a hadith of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salatu was-salam. then Quran, and then Sunnah. So the fact that they treat you as really dumb objects that you can never comprehend Quran and Sunnah. Therefore, our words authority for you. This is the greatest heresy in Islam. This is the usurpation of the position of the Imams alayhimus salam, if you pay closely. So why these very respected scholars of Shiism, to whom Shias owe their entire religion, to persons such as Kulaini and Saduq, these individuals, they were against Taqleed. This was not because they were dumb, because Taqleed is a heresy. Taqleed is a blasphemy. Taqleed is that you take someone else other than Allah, someone else other than Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, someone else other than the holy Imams alayhimus salatu wasallam as the authority in your lives, and you follow them blindly, unquestionably, without any question. This obedience, such unquestionable adherence to someone, is reserved only for Allah and Rasul in Imams alayhimus salam, because they're ma'zoom, because they're infallible. No person's word is hujjah upon you, has the force of law, except the words of Allah and Rasul and Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Scholars have the sole and mere responsibility to inculcate the population with the teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam and transmit the knowledge of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam to the population, not to make the population follow their own opinions, because as they believe the common man is too dumb to understand Quran and Sunnah. At any rate, my dear brethren, let me rephrase my stance here. Islam could be followed only if people, only people who do not understand Quran and Sunnah, ask those scholars who understand in Quran and Sunnah. That's the only way Islam could be practiced. If you learn Islam, then you can practice Islam. But however, Islam is not the fatwa of ulama and scholars. Islam is only Quran and Sunnah. Anything that's not Quran and Sunnah, that's not Islam, and you don't have to follow it. As a matter of fact, you are not permitted to follow it. So words of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salatu wassalam, a hadith of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, Quran and Sunnah, the practice of Taqleed, the institution of Taqleed, the fact that people follow marja is not the practice of educating oneself about hadith, about Quran and Sunnah. That's not it. You take the fatwa of a mujtahid in Taqleed and you follow it unquestionably, and you pay no attention. It's not of your concern at all. What does Quran say on this subject, or Sunnah of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam say on this subject? Because you have been led to believe that as long as you follow the words of the mujtahid, you have done your duty and you will not be held responsible for anything. That is a heresy. Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam have never said such a thing. The only time that you have performed your duty and you will not be held questionable by Allah in the day of judgment is if you followed Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, their words, their examples, their actions. And of course, fatwa is not hadith. Fatwa is not the action of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. At any rate, may Allah bless you, Allah keep you well.